Potter profile on Pansy Parkinson, a cast Aspell series. Pansy was born sometime between 1979 and 1980. It is believed that Pansy could also be a descendant of Pansy Parkinson, who was a former Minister for Magic. The Parkinson family is also listed as one of the sacred 28 pureblood families. In 1991, Pansy attended Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry and was sorted into Slytherin. Pansy became friends with Draco Malfoy, Vincent Crabbe, Gregory Goyle, and Blaise Zabini. She very soon became very popular with the Slytherin girls and became the leader of the Slytherin girls' gang, including Millicent Bulstrode, Tracy Davis, and Daphne Greengrass. Pansy used her gang to bully other students at Hogwarts and occasionally even her friends. When the first year, Gryffindors and Slytherins had their first flying lesson. Pansy teased Parvati Patil when she defended Neville Longbottom after Draco Malfoy started to make fun of Neville's flying accident.
Did you see his face, the great lump?
The other Slytherins joined in.
Shut up, Malfoy!
Snapped Parvati.
Ooh, sticking up for Longbottom?
Said Pansy Parkinson, a hard-faced Slytherin girl.
Never thought you'd like fat little crybabies, Parvati.
At the start of her third year, the Hogwarts Express was stopped as Dementors entered the train to search for Sirius Black. During the search, a Dementor attacked Harry, causing him to faint. Pansy was a part of the Slytherin group that mocked Harry throughout the entire school year for fainting on the train. During the first Care of Magical Creatures lesson, taught by Professor Hagrid, Draco went against Hagrid's advice about approaching a hippogriff with caution and treating them with respect, as hippogriffs are very proud creatures. Instead, he aggravated Buckbeak, which incidentally caused Buckbeak to attack Draco. Pansy ended up in tears after this attack and followed Draco to the hospital wing. Even when Draco was discharged from the hospital wing, Pansy still fawned over his injury, which Draco exaggerated in a successful attempt to get at Hagrid, which consequently resulted in the execution of Buckbeak, which delighted Draco's friends, including Pansy. In her fourth year, Hogwarts hosted the Triwizard Tournament. When Harry was selected as the fourth champion, Pansy, like most of the students at Hogwarts, believed Harry had put his own name into the Goblet of Fire and had somehow cheated the system, as you had to be 17 to enter and Harry was only 14. Because of this, Pansy found the Potter stink badges extremely funny and wore one on her robes with the rest of the Slytherins and other Hogwarts students. When Draco dueled Harry in the school hallway, Draco used the Densaugio hex, which missed Harry but did accidentally hit Hermione, making her front teeth elongate, which made Pansy laugh. Pansy was also one of the students who spoke to Rita Skeeter and gave false information about Harry and Hermione being a couple. The article read,
"She's really ugly," says Pansy Parkinson, a pretty and vivacious fourth-year student. "But she'd be well up to making a love potion. She's quite brainy. I think that's how she's doing it."
Pansy attended the Yule Ball with Draco and wore frilly pink robes. When she saw Hermione Granger as Victor Crumb's date to the ball, she was outraged, but did later comment on how beautiful Hermione looked. During a Care for Magical Creatures lesson, Pansy showed her softer side, although she tried to hide it over her love for unicorns. Pansy was also known to wear a watch, which caused her a few issues during a Care of Magical Creatures lesson, as Nifflers would often try to bite her wrist to get to her watch. Pansy became a prefect for Slytherin House alongside Draco Malfoy. The pair both shared a Thestal-drawn carriage on the way up to the castle grounds. During the start of Term Feast, it was announced that Dolores Umbridge would be the new defense against the dark arts professor. Later on in the year, she became the High Inquisitor and created the Inquisitorial Squad, which Pansy was a member of. When Hagrid returned to teach at Hogwarts, Professor Umbridge, with help from Pansy, tried to get rid of Hagrid by suggesting no one could understand what he was saying because he was half giant.
"Do you find,"
said Professor Umbridge in a ringing voice to Pansy Parkinson,
"that you are able to understand Professor Hagrid when he talks?"
Just like Hermione, Pansy had tears in her eyes, but these were tears of laughter. Indeed, her answer was almost incoherent because she was trying to suppress her giggles.
No, because, well, it sounds like grunting a lot of the time.
Later that year, Pansy encouraged Slytherin House to sing "Weasley is Our King" during the first few Quidditch matches of the season. Pansy also attempted to get under Harry's skin before a match by telling him that Warrington was planning to knock him on his broom. But this didn't bother Harry at all, and he replied saying that Warrington's aim was pathetic and that he would be more worried if he was aiming for the person next to him. On Valentine's Day, Pansy spotted Harry Potter and Cho Chang out on a date in Madame Puddifoot's tea shop, and she couldn't resist making a comment towards them.
I don't think much of your taste. At least Diggory was good looking.
Pansy was part of Umbridge's inquisitorial squad that caught Dumbledore's army in the Room of Requirement. When members of the DA tried to escape, Pansy looked for them in the girls' toilets and found the list of DA members and reported it back to Umbridge so she could use it in evidence. Pansy was part of the squad members that were jinxed, hexed, and cursed during a rebellion after the Weasley twins decided to leave Hogwarts. Pansy decided to miss a whole day of classes because one of the spells made her sprout a pair of antlers. On the train journey back to Hogwarts, Pansy was in the same train compartment as Draco Malfoy, Blaise Zabini, and other students in Slytherin House. Draco was resting his head in her lap while she stroked his hair. She started to smirk as if everyone would want to take her place. When Draco revealed that he might not be returning to Hogwarts next year, Pansy was upset, but was impressed that Draco had the dark mark and was officially a Death Eater. As Harry was spying on Draco while using his invisibility cloak, he got the impression that Pansy and Draco were a lot closer this year. When the train arrived at Hogwarts, Pansy held out her hand waiting for Draco to take it, but he told her to go on without him while he checked something. During the welcome feast, Dumbledore announced that Professor Snape will be the new Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Pansy, like the rest of Slytherin House, all cheered after hearing this news. For her NEWTs, Pansy chose Defense Against the Dark Arts and Potions. Later on in the year, Harry and Draco had a duel where Harry tried a new spell, Sectum Sempra, on Draco, causing him to be rushed to the hospital wing. When Pansy heard this, she ran to see him and lost no time in vilifying Harry far and wide. We do not know if Pansy did attend Dumbledore's funeral. On the 1st of September 1997, Pansy was on the Hogwarts Express when the Death Eaters stopped the train in search for Harry. Hogwarts was now in Voldemort's control with Professor Snape as headmaster. As Pansy was a Slytherin, it is believed she may have been one of the favoured students, meaning she didn't have to endure brutal and unfair punishments. On the 1st of May 1998, all the students at Hogwarts were getting ready to fight when Voldemort spoke to everyone using occupancy to try and persuade them to give him Harry. There was silence in the hall now, the kind of silence that pressed against the eardrums, that seems too huge to be contained by walls.
"Give me Harry Potter,"
said Voldemort's voice.
"and none shall be harmed. Give me Harry Potter, and I shall leave the school untouched. Give me Harry Potter, and you shall be rewarded. You have until midnight."
The silence swallowed them all again. Every head turned, every eye in the place seemed to have found Harry, to hold him frozen in the glare of thousands of invisible beams. Then a figure rose from the Slytherin table. He recognized Pansy Parkinson as she raised a shaking arm and screamed,
But he's there! Potter's there! Someone grab him!
Before Harry could speak, there was a massive movement. The Gryffindors in front of him had risen and stood facing, not Harry, but the Slytherins. The Hufflepuffs stood, and almost at that same moment, the Ravenclaws, all of them, with their backs to Harry, all of them looking toward Pansy instead, and Harry, awestruck and overwhelmed, saw wands emerging everywhere, pulled from beneath cloaks and undersleeves.
"Thank you, Miss Parkinson,"
said Professor McGonagall in a clipped voice.
"You will leave the hall first with Mr. Filch, if the rest of your house could follow."
Pansy was not one of the Slytherin students that returned to the battle as reinforcements with Professor Slughorn. It is unknown if Pansy was among the students that joined Voldemort. However, we do know that Pansy seemed scared about Voldemort attacking Hogwarts, so it is likely that Pansy didn't take a side. We know very little about Pansy's life after the Second Wizarding War, but we do know she survived, and her friendship with Draco had ended after they had finished school. Pansy did not marry Draco like everyone had expected, but actually married Blaise Zabini and had 2 children, one daughter and one son, Carmen and Marco Zabini.